What is up, American Dystopia family? We're glad you're here today. We talk about all the things that matter to the broke folk vote. Now, we are waiting on our first guest, and until he gets here, we can talk about other stuff, right?
What you want to talk about?
Well, the first thing I want to talk about is we apologize for the camera quality on these few videos that we've done live. We do have a camera on the way. We felt like we needed to upgrade our equipment to bring you the best viewing experience that we could possibly bring you. I tricked Mama. She thought that this was going to start at 3:05. We started 5 minutes early, so my bad.
He's like, it's go time. I'm like, no, I'm making coffee.
Today's guests are Mr. Humanity and Ronnie, RealBCereus from Read My Lips podcast. He'll be our second guest. We got a lot to get into, especially the huge news of MSNBC and that thing that dropped last night. I'm sure that y'all saw it on the Zach and Matt show. If you haven't, we will leave a link down below as soon as this is uploaded, or you can go to the Zach and Matt channel and watch
just
that.
type in Zach and Matt and it'll be the first one probably.
Absolutely. So make sure you hit that like. Thank you. We appreciate it. What's up, little Yang Gang is making an appearance. How are you, little Yang Gang? So we are currently working on launching about 4 new channels that will go along with this. One of those is Yang Gang Family channel.
That's going to be a lot of fun. So that's going to be the fun one.
Which will be more like the original Grassroots Yang Gang channel a lot, because it will have a lot to do with family and moving humanity forward. We also have a couple other ones that we're keeping secret.
Secret channels coming.
I see Aunt Corey is in the chat. Hey, Aunt Corey.
Hi, Aunt Corey.
Hi, Aunt Corey.
She's right here. Look, we'll put her picture up for you real quick.
Hi, Aunt Corey.
So, if y'all don't know who Aunt Corey is, Aunt Corey was very instrumental in helping, number one, our family, but she was also very instrumental in helping the Yang Gang family. She helped us get Andrew Yang on the ballot in Vermont. And so shout outs to her and everybody who helped make that happen. Mommy, man, that was an amazing time. We'll have to go back and revisit that. But right now, we've got a guest that's joining us.
Here?
Yeah, I know. It's reversed.
Little Yang Gang, we're going to talk to Mr. Humanity. Okay?
All right.
Ready?
Oh, he's running
Where
away.
you going? We're going to talk to Mr. Humanity. We are going to talk to Mr. Humanity. Mr. Humanity, if hold on, let me get this picture right here. When you got headphones on, you're probably going to be on a delay. So if there's any way possible for you to unplug your headphones and speak directly to the computer.
That's only if he has it plugged into his phone instead of his computer, I'm pretty sure.
Maybe. I don't know. We'll see.
That was what happened in the other interview.
Can you guys hear me?
You might be good. Are you on a delay?
We can hear you.
No, I don't see any delay or anything, actually. Maybe like a couple seconds, but everything seems to be flowing pretty good.
Okay, cool. Because we had when we was doing the show the other day, we had somebody on and they were doing what Mama Yang Gang was talking about, and there was a hella delay. So Mr. Humanity,
what's up, man?
Introduce yourself.
Yeah, guys, I am Mr. Humanity. I've actually originated because of Andrew Yang. That's where I got the name from. And been I started giving out Yang items. I don't know if you remember that, but when I was big into Andrew Yang over the summer, I was giving away Yang items, and then I just eventually started giving away cash. And ever since then, I've been fundraising and just putting cash into the hands of people for about almost 9 months now. We've raised over about like $30,000 to $40,000 worth of cash and just giving it out.
It's pretty amazing, and I remember when you first started, we had connected, and I've seen you do nothing but grow. And if y'all are watching this and you have not checked out Mr. Humanity's channel, please go over there and do that. It's called Mr. Humanity, right? I can try to remember.
Yeah, it's just when you go into YouTube or Google, all you have to do is just type in Mr. Humanity, and hopefully my stuff will pop up.
It does when I type it in. So I mean, that's all I know. But I want to talk real quick about one of the things that you did, and it was a fundraiser, and you were eating bugs. Can you talk about that for a minute?
What?
Yeah. So that fundraiser and that small event was one of the things that it just kind of helped my channel and my stunts evolve. It was my first big contribution. So a fan at the time, I was doing a fundraiser for a homeless boy, this family, and she wanted to donate like $600-700, and she's like, "I'll do it if you eat a bug or something." And then it turned into like, "Well, don't tempt me because I'll do it." And she's like, "No, I really will donate." And then she actually did donate that amount of money, so I felt obligated to do the stunt. So I planned it out, and I planned it out on Thanksgiving, which was really a great turnout because there were a lot of people home, and they wanted to watch it live. And I bought bugs on Amazon, and I bought a beetle, scorpion, and another beetle. And I don't think I'll probably ever do that again. I'd probably do it for like more. I would do it for more money. It won't be $600, but they taste horrible. I was throwing up constantly. But it was for a good cause, so we had a lot of fun that night.
Bro, let me. I want to take you back for a second because I don't know if I don't know how closely you follow this channel, but there was a time we did that shit for free.
What? It was just little worms.
It was these. We went to Chudder's in New Hampshire, and it's like the world's longest candy
counter.
Candy counter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And in this candy counter is every kind of candy imaginable. And one of those candies they were bugs.
Yeah.
And
like worm type things, but they were dried. And it was very strange.
So Little Yang Gang decided that he wanted to get a pack of them. Well, we went out to film on this bridge, and we saw this guy that was just randomly passing by, and we were like, "Yo, do you want to eat some bugs with us?" And he was like, "Oh yeah, sure." So we all took one, and I'm telling you what's the truth. That was the most disgusting thing I think that I've ever put in my mouth. Mm-hmm. And I was just like you. I put it in my mouth, and I went to crunch down on it, and I just started gagging.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened.
In this video, uploaded. Yeah.
For sure, we will definitely link that video.
Definitely link that video. I'll definitely like to check it out.
What other stuff have you done?
Right now, there's the bug stunt, there's the polar plunge. We raised like $2,000 for me to polar plunge in a Speedo, which I did. That was in December, and I went into the beaches of the New York cold water and did it in New York. When I actually just monetized my YouTube channel in January. So for the month of January, I started experimenting with like stunts and fundraisers and stuff. And since then, the month of January was a big stunt month. I put clothespins on my face. What else did I do? I did like dancing for donations. I ate an onion. I ate dog food. I ate sardines. Yeah, it's a bunch of crazy stuff. There's a bunch of crazy. But the thing is, though, the beauty of it is that I pick some of the things because obviously it's my body and what I want to do sometimes. But a lot of the times, the fans are the ones that like, hey, we want you to do this, and we'll pay for it. So, which has been really cool.
I mean, so it's really awesome though that like, they can pay you to do all this crazy stuff. But the fact of the matter is the money's not going in your pocket. It's
No.
going in other people's pockets. Talk about that for a minute.
Yeah. So so the money that I get, well, being an influencer, you have different, different revenue streams, and when you're obviously the YouTube revenue stream, there's YouTube that takes 30%. So right off the bat, when the people are donating, 30% of that money doesn't even go to me; it goes to YouTube, and then the rest of the 70% goes to my organization, and then I just take that money and just give it back out to the people. I'd be lying if I said it doesn't. Some of it doesn't go to me. Yes, some of it does go to me, but I take that money and I pay for for stuff that, for like today I needed like wires for like Google Wi-Fi or like Ethernet cables or for Restream or for, all the programs that I use to do the live stunts. They all, to keep my website, my legal and everything, I run it just like a, like a real legit business because, you have to protect yourself.
That's pretty incredible. And people don't realize unless you've actually done this how much, number one, how much of a struggle it is.
Yeah.
And that, people don't know the fact that YouTube takes 30% of the revenue right off the bat. And I mean, it's so for you to be doing what you're doing is incredibly special. And I've noticed that your channel is growing, and I hope that everybody who tunes into this broadcast and sees this video will go over to your channel and subscribe and support your channel because I think what you're doing there is so incredibly important.
Yeah.
But I've also noticed that through your YouTube channel, you've had a lot of interesting people starting to come on your show, including Kevin Johnson, who played Sam on Ozark.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw also the Saf from Tiger King is going to be on your show. Talk about that for a minute.
Yeah. So, I started reaching out to celebrities a couple of weeks ago, and just I wanted to do a different format, similar to like I'm trying to not that I'm trying to be, but I'm trying to get something similar going on to what Mr. Beast does because I'm a big fan of his, and I want to do something different. So I started doing a little celebrity interviews and celebrity content, as well as giving away money and doing stupid stunts in cash. And it just one thing kind of led to another. I connected with Zordon, the original Zordon from the TV show Power Rangers from the 90s. And, me and him connected and, he was my first gig. And then it just kind of evolved and I just started reaching out and just started explaining what I've been doing and, how far I've come. And, people are like, hey, yeah, let's do it. Let's get on board. So, it's been really cool so far. So, I mean, the interview with Kevin L. Johnson, definitely check it out. It's a great interview. It's a great discussion that we're having. That we had. And then Saf, Saf is this Thursday. So I can't give away too much information, but definitely, definitely check it out.
It's pretty crazy because if I'm not mistaken, you also did something with Bill Pulte.
Yeah. We that was a while ago. That was in October. So I had I think 5,000 or 7,000 followers at the time, and I was just still giving away cash, and I don't know, just caught his attention, and we just kind of connected, and we met up, and we had lunch for about an hour. Nice guy, very very nice guy. Very busy guy. He's one of the things that I do like about him is that he's a very upfront and very honest guy. Like he doesn't bullshit. He's a very blunt guy, which is really cool. So I can appreciate that.
So what?
Pretty awesome.
Yeah, what kind of projects are you working on now currently?
Right now I have Saf is one of my current projects, and then after that I have possibly, it's not confirmed yet, but I have Chris Moneymaker, the 2003 World Series of Poker champion. I think he won like $1 million. So I have him coming on next week. We're trying to figure that out, and then after that, actually, I have a couple more people lined up. I just haven't really heard back yet.
So I want to talk like in 5 years, because I sincerely hope that I believe in what you're doing, and I think it's only going to grow. How has the coronavirus impacted what you're doing? I was curious about that.
So the coronavirus has infected my day job for sure. I'm a teacher, so I do this and I teach full time. So it's actually, the coronavirus has given me the benefit of working at home and kind of balancing both. The coronavirus has been also, and I don't mean this in a negative way, kind of also been helping me in a little bit, because people, they're at home and they're donating, and right now we're raising funds for families affected by the coronavirus. So, and people are very generous, and they're very, they're understanding, they're passionate, they're sensitive, to what's going on out there in the world right now. And, they want to donate and they want to do something good. So that's why, they donate to me, and then, I just give it back out to families that have been, been affected, there's people out there like restaurant workers. Perfect example. They're not working in restaurants right now. The bartenders, the waitresses, the waiters. What about the actors or the actresses? There's no gigs going on right now. So that's how the virus has been affecting what I've been doing so far. So it's been just kind of helping me help people.
Did you say you were a teacher?
Yeah. Yeah.
Do your students know about your channel?
I don't think so. And I'm going to keep it that way.
Somebody's gonna find you eventually.
I know someone is going to definitely.
I'm just kind of curious. I'm curious as to what your students think about you eating bugs and stuff like that. I think that would be
none of my students have said anything to me yet. I've purposely not said anything, because I just want to see how long it goes until someone says something to me. Like, hey, are you this guy? Are you him? So.
What grade do you teach?
Middle school. I'm a middle school special
middle
education.
school. Oh my god.
Yeah, middle school's tough. Middle school's the
I hate middle school, man.
But
yes, it was probably one of the worst years of my entire life was middle school.
Yeah. That's when all the kids are going through transitions, and then they start being wanting to be popular and having all these issues. And now with smartphones, it's 10 times worse than it was when we were there. So
yeah, I really couldn't imagine being a kid in today's environment in school, man. I just see some of the hellacious stuff that goes on and how kids treat each other, and man, that's horrible. Yep. You probably see that more, being a teacher than even we do.
Yeah, it's tough. I really can't go into the specific behaviors that I see at my my current assignment, but I've been in the field for about 10 years now. So, and it's just, I mean, to me, I'm numb to it because I'm just so used to, seeing kids and dealing with, students. But I can definitely see from an outside perspective how it could be like people like, whoa, what is this kid doing? But yeah. So, and oh my God, the iPhones don't help too. I mean, every kid from middle school, and higher, they're always on their iPhones. They're not listening to you. So,
man, I'm gonna tell. Look, here's the. You know what? We were such horrible kids when we were in middle school. I mean, and by horrible, I mean me and my particular class, and it was like we literally terrorized this one teacher, Miss Jackson, so much that she eventually ended up quitting.
Oh,
And
wow.
I mean, like, horrible stuff, man. Like, and I did not do this, but somebody did this that was in the class. And they went like feeding a bottle and then like stuck it in her desk. And when she opened the desk, it just went everywhere. Oh my God.
It's horrible.
It was horrible. I mean, we treated this woman so, and I'm, now as an adult, I'm quite ashamed of that, the way that we acted. But, and then like several years later, I had gone on to high school at that point in time, but we went to a restaurant, and there she was waiting tables.
Oh. Why are you laughing? That's terrible.
It is. But what am I supposed to do about it now? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I can't do nothing but laugh and shit.
Look, you gotta laugh sometimes. You gotta laugh. I mean, it is. I'll be honest. It is unfortunate that that teacher ended up quitting. But that should not have happened. But and things like that, you just gotta laugh, put it aside, and just kind of move forward. Like Andrew Yang, humanity forward, moving forward.
Yeah, it's horrible, man. But I also feel like at the same time, if you were going to be a teacher, you should probably have more control. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But I guess she was a rookie, and like she just did not last.
And like Andrew Yang said, 70% of their upbringing is coming from home, not the teachers. So you never know what you're going to get.
And my parents were crazy town banana parents.
Yeah.
And teachers can't control that. They can't talk about that. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no, that's what I one of the things I loved about Andrew Yang. I'll be honest with you. There were some policies with with the Andrew Yang that I didn't really agree on. That were on his website, but one of the policies that he had was to pay teachers more money, and and you're right, like what Andrew Yang said, like a lot of the like 60 to 70% of a student's behavior is based on their home life and how they're raised by their parents, and there's only so much that a teacher can really do when our job is supposed to educate. To me, there's a difference between educating a child and raising a child. So I definitely agreed with Andrew Yang on that for sure. But hey,
I imagine that you're probably actually a pretty cool teacher, and I don't imagine being as big as you are that you probably get much flack from your students. So.
No, I'm a pretty strict teacher. I'm a very strict and blunt teacher. I show my students, especially in middle school, you have to be very, very direct. I show my students a lot of respect, and and I ask for it back in return, and and I tell them what you have to tell them, because they're kids, they don't know any better. You have to tell them what your boundaries are. Like, look, this is my boundary, don't cross it. And other than that, I just make sure that they know that I care for them, and that I'm there to work with them and to make them successful, and everything just usually just falls into place.
What do you teach?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. Can you say that again?
What subject do you teach?
Oh, special ed.
Oh, cool.
I teach
so you've got your. I mean, that's definitely an area where there's, especially nowadays, it seems like there's more and more need for that.
Oh yeah, you definitely gotta have patience. But yeah, well. So, but I've checked out I've watched your content and your website, and not your wait, you have a Patreon page, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you guys have a Patreon page at YouTube. Yeah, so I've checked out some of your stuff and what's been going on, and I do remember one of the last videos of yours that I watched was when Yang he decided to end his campaign, and you guys were very, very emotional, upset about that when you made that video. We don't have to talk about it, but I'm just saying that was just one of the last videos that I saw. So,
well, let's talk about that for a second. Like, because you kind of predicated your whole summer on he kind of inspired you to do what you do.
Yeah.
And how did you take that?
I'm going to be honest with you. I knew it was coming. I knew he was going to make it to like the final 4 or 3. And then I knew that the bigger campaigns and the campaigns that just genuinely have more money were going to win. I knew it. And when he announced that he was, not going to run anymore, but he was aiming for 2024, I thought that was a better idea. And I honestly think he will be one of the people, like the top 1 to 2 people, for 2024. Like, it's going to come down to either him or someone else in 2024. That's what I'm predicting.
No, see, that's not how I took it. See, the way I took it was, I believe that even if we only had $1 scraped up amongst all of us, that Andrew Yang and the power of Andrew Yang would shine like this burning light up into the atmosphere, and everybody would see it, and everybody would logically decide to vote for Andrew Yang. How did people not? How did that not happen? How did it not happen?
It's money. I mean, we can try and talk about money not being the number one factor, but it is. I mean, it all comes down to, when it comes to political campaigns, it's just money. I mean, when was the last time you? And I'm not too good with I don't know if I'm too good with my history, but when was the last time you heard of a president that started from completely nothing, that had no money, and became president?
I mean, I don't know. You're the teacher. You're supposed to know all of this.
There hasn't been. But he set up a great foundation. I'm sorry, go ahead.
A lot of it does come down to money, man, but I don't know. I just kind of felt like, he just made so much sense, and I didn't know how anybody who could, listen to him could not see the value of the ideas that he was trying to get out there. And, I mean, we were so disappointed, like, when New Hampshire started coming in, and, like, he didn't even wait it still makes me mad. He didn't even wait the day for New Hampshire. But he saw, his campaign probably got early numbers, and they probably saw the writing on the wall, and he didn't want to give anybody any false hope.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. I don't know.
We expected Iowa and New Hampshire to be different.
For sure, because I'm thinking to myself, okay, if I'm a Yang Gang person in Iowa, right? There is no way that we don't come out of there with me not convincing your ass that we're voting for Andrew Yang.
Yeah.
That's just the way it is. Because I'm hanging everybody in my precinct. Because that's just the way. I mean, you couldn't come up with one argument against what, oh my gosh. I don't know what happened, man. It's like the wheels fell off. I feel like yeah. Go ahead.
No, you're right. I am with you, because before the numbers were released, and in December or January, whichever month, I was shocked at the percentages in, what was it, New Hampshire and Iowa, because he was constantly campaigning and showing his face there in all the different cities, and I was really, really shocked. And after seeing those numbers, I was like, all right, this is just nothing but a big money game, and obviously the people that have more money are going to win. So, and I just face facts. It's just a reality of it. Sucks, but he will do it. I think he will do it in 2024. I think if he I think if Andrew starts campaigning in 2022 in those states for 2 straight years, like he'll get better percentages. And if he just, he just has to keep doing what he's doing, because his ideas are right. I mean, putting, money and cash into the hands of the people, is probably one of the most brilliant ideas any presidential candidate can come up with. It stimulating the economy is what's going to make our economy better. I mean, I can go on and on and on about this, but I mean,
what I think Andrew needs to do is he needs to start, like you said, in a couple years and start campaigning. But this time, man, he does not need. He needs to go Joe Exotic on everybody in the Democratic Party and just start. Just go for the jugular this time, man.
I want him to be the Andrew that he was when he first started campaigning and doing all the rallies and throwing around the F-bomb. And I kind of want him to skip Iowa and New Hampshire because for some reason his message did not resonate there. Maybe just skip it all together and move on to South Carolina, Nevada, California, North Carolina, all those states, and just hold a bunch of rallies, because that got the excitement going. That's what created the Yang Gang. All that excitement.
Yeah, because it was this whole excitement. He was engaging this whole group of voters that had either never voted before, had never been engaged in politics. He was getting them all excited, and they were like, hell yeah, this is our candidate. Now we finally got somebody that we can vote for. Yeah. And then when he hired them bums from campaigns and they started telling him that you got to do stump speeches in New Hampshire and you got to have TV ads, the wheels fell off.
That's exactly what I think too. I think when you know what it is? It's in a situation like that, he started getting bigger and bigger, and, he had his campaign manager, Zach. And then once you start getting in, rolling in more and more money, you have people that want to be part of that campaign, and they want to create jobs for themselves, or they want to do, they want to be a part of it. They want to have an in somehow, and they start, and if they get in, they go like this. All right, now you gotta go here. Now you gotta go here. Hire me to do this. Hire me to do that. Pay me to do this. You're gonna get paid to do that. I think that his campaign was very, very well run. But I think they should have as he got bigger and bigger, they should have targeted demographics and a little bit more specifically. They should have started branching out more and more to people, to people that have similar ideas or interests or similar income levels, I think. I mean, I don't know. It was just, I don't know. When he got bigger, it just started becoming more. What's the word I'm looking for?
Political.
Yeah, more political. Than exactly. Yeah, that's the perfect. He started becoming more. Because in the beginning, when he first started out, I donated to him. I bought a crap load of his stuff. I was really excited. And then once it got deeper and deeper, I was still, rooting for him, but I was like, this is kind of not the same guy, But,
right.
Who knows?
All right. Well, we're going to wrap it up, Anthony, and we appreciate you being on. And if you have one last message, if you have one message that you could give to the Yang Gang, we always try to get a message out. Give them your website, give them your everything, all the information that they need, and tell us what you would want to tell them.
Yeah, no, just check out my content, check out your content. Really great group of people, inspired by Andrew Yang. If you guys want to check out my stuff, just go to my YouTube channel, Mr. Humanity, or go to my website, MrHumanityGives.com. And guys, would love to have you guys on my show too. We can chat it out for about a half hour or so, and we'll go from there.
Absolutely, brother. Well, we appreciate you being on the show.
All right. Well, look, take care, guys. Thank you so much.
Wow. What a great guy. Right? He's absolutely a great guy.
What y'all think? It's like, that's awesome.
The stuff that he's doing over there, y'all definitely check him out. He's making an impact on a lot of the broke folk vote. So we're gonna bring on our next guest.
Our next guest.
Our next guest.
Should I just click that down right now?
Well, you should probably click it.
Okay.
There we go.
Now go.
What's going
up,
on?
How are you?
What's going on? I'm great. How you guys doing?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Jeez, it's been a while. I think the last time that we saw you,
New Year's Eve.
New Year's Eve, but we spoke after that. We spoke when Yang suspended his campaign. We spoke like I want to say the day after. But that was it. It's been a while.
So how have you been since that? Since Yang suspended?
I mean, I've been hanging in there. You know, it was a rough couple of 2 weeks or 3 weeks. And I felt like I had to recalibrate, so to speak. But after I did that, you know, I just kept pumping out Yang content and preparing for Yang 2024, you know?
And that's you know, it's really made it hard on Yang content creators, especially when he dropped out, because, you know, we were in our heads, we were imagining going all the way to the White House, you know, and this being this whole process, and it did not turn out that way. And when Yang suspended it, it was just like, hit the brakes. You know?
Yeah. And I think it affected a lot of Yang content creators too. If you look at the analytics, which I'm sure you guys do, there was a huge drop off, and it was sort of like you had to kind of rebuild again. And it was a slow process, but it's happening. It definitely affected everybody in a huge way, for sure.
Yeah, happy 420, man.
Happy 420. You guys celebrating?
You know, I'm celebrating. And
I'm watching him celebrate.
I am wearing my campaign hat
in
honor of 420. So shout out to everybody who is participating in 420. If you are not participating in 420, either feel free to do so or do not do so.
I begged 420 of cookies once, so I did that.
So let me ask you guys a question. Speaking of 420, with whoever you think is going to win the nomination, what do you think is going to happen with, you know, marijuana?
Man, first of all, we both know you, and you can say what you want to, not you in particular, but other people out there. No one is winning against Donald Trump next time out. It's just not going to happen. They are putting Weekend at Bernie's Joe Biden up against him, and even if somehow they pull a switch, the DNC, corrupt ass DNC, they are not winning, because Trump's base is going to just a lot of the people who, you know, went away from Donald Trump and just like, you know, came to the Yang Gang or whatever, or went other places, you know, or to even the Bernie Sanders camp. Now, all those people are going to go right back to Trump, man. They're going to go right back to Trump.
But there is one way that I think Trump will lose. Is that all his supporters keep doing all these stupid protests, and they're going to catch corona, and 3 to 4% of them will die, and maybe that's I know it's terrible, but
I'm with the same sentiment as you, Russell. I don't think Biden has a chance. They put a man with dementia up against Trump, and I keep telling people, because there's a you know, I hate Trump movement, and I get it. I get people's why people feel that way, but they forget the last election, how he campaigned. He ran as a populist, and he knows how to play to a crowd, and he knows how to feed his base red meat and bring people over. And a lot of people forget that. He is so quick off the cuff. You can't have somebody so quick off the cuff going against a man with dementia. It's just not going to work. And the Democratic
it might be fun to watch.
It'll be fun to watch. And the Democratic base is so split right now. I've done a couple of videos talking about it. There's a lot of people who are going to sit this one out. There's a lot of people who are just going to sit it out. And so turn up is going to be incredibly low. I think they kind of screwed themselves this time around for sure. And as far as the people protesting about their rights and not practicing social distancing, that's pretty much a guarantee that a lot of those people will get the virus and end up in the hospital. And it's not fair to the nurses and the doctors that are already got a lot on their shoulders. You're going to willingly put yourself in that kind of situation. And now we have to bend over backwards to take care of you. It's shady. It's really shady.
Come on, man. This is America. This is America, and this is about my damn freedoms. And you're not going to take my damn freedoms. Do you understand me?
If I want to dive headfirst into the virus, I'm going to dive headfirst into the virus. I mean, it is what it is.
That's what the mentality is.
Yeah, and I wish Biden did something, like caved in some way, shape, or form to even attempt to get people on the other side of the threshold to him, but he's stubborn. He's incredibly stubborn. I don't see him. He already thinks he's the most progressive candidate. He said that many times. I'm the most progressive candidate running. He's not for UBI. He's not for anything, but he's the most progressive candidate running. So
he doesn't even want to legalize marijuana.
He doesn't even. It's a schedule. Schedule 1. It's right next to heroin, right? It's ridiculous. He can't even bend and legalize marijuana. He did it. He did really well with voters. Go ahead.
It's crazy because I'm just going to be completely transparent. I have done both of those, and they are nothing alike.
Not even close. How is it still a Schedule 1 drug? And you know this. And the war on drugs failed. He was a part of that. And you can't even do something as simple. I guarantee you, if Joe Biden said, you know what, I'm going to legalize marijuana full stop, he'd have a much better chance just based off that one thing alone. But he won't even do that. He won't bend at all. So my question is, if you can't, and I get people want to do things for the courts, that's why anybody that wants to go out and vote for him, I'm not going to go after you. You do what you feel is best. But everybody has a line, and I think I reached that line. And so, look, if the courts are important to you and the environment's important to you and stuff like that, you do what you do. But I've reached it. At some point, you have to take a stand because they're already counting on your votes. You don't think they knew about the environment and the courts beforehand? They know that you care about those things and that you're going to suck it up and vote for Biden anyway. At some point, you have to take a stand. You have to. He went this whole election cycle seeing what people was talking about, Medicare for all, universal basic income, all these great ideas. And he didn't even stop and say, maybe I should just adopt one of these ideas. Nope, just let's go back to the old days. It's absurd.
And Bernie supporters aren't going to support Joe Biden. And there's a lot of other bases that aren't going to support Joe Biden just because they don't think that he's a strong candidate,
That's why I don't know how he even got the nomination.
Because the DNC pushed it.
I know, but how so many people still voted for him in the primaries, knowing that he's not for all of these things. I just find that crazy. I don't know. A lot of low information voters.
Well, I think a lot of it was more people voting for Biden so that Bernie Sanders didn't get it. I think that was more the case than it was for people who actually supported Biden.
Yeah, it was a culmination of all that. It was a vote against Bernie, not necessarily for Biden. the African American community in the South coalesced around Biden in a huge way. And then there was Bloody Monday, where Obama called, Pete and Amy and what have you, told them, hey, kind of need you to suspend your campaign and push for Biden. And a lot of their support went to Biden. And it was just a wave. And Elizabeth Warren was still in the race, sucking up progressive votes from Sanders as well. And it was just too late. And all they had to do was keep Biden out of the spotlight as long as possible. That's all he had to do, is to not talk and stay out of the spotlight. And people were going for him. I was talking to a guy last week, and I asked him who he was voting for. And he goes, Biden, I guess. And I said, why? And he had no answer. And I said, well, do you know this and that about Biden? Do you know this and that? Do you know about, Hunter Biden and getting $80,000 a month? Do you know about the Tara Reid allegations? Do you know about the handsy Uncle Joe stuff? Do you know about this? Do you know about that? He had no idea. So like you were saying, there's a lot of low information voters. And if you can get a lot of those people to come out and just vote for you based off name, you will do well. Absolutely, 100%.
For sure. And you touched on something that is a very much a hot button issue over on the conservative side. And that is, one of the benefits that I have being a Yangocrat is I get to be a double agent. And I get to pay attention to both sides of this war that's going on. And Hunter Biden and this whole thing that he's got going with China, it's China. China virus, the China virus is killing the world. But that's a major sticking point for the Republican side, is this whole scandal with Hunter Biden. Talk about that for a second.
Trump already dropped an ad hitting Biden on China. He already dropped an ad. And like we were saying, for low information voters, they're not going to go research if everything in that ad is accurate. They're going to take it for what it is and say, oh, Biden, this and that with China? Oh, okay, I can't deal with that. So again, Trump is an incredible, he is really good when it comes to things like this. Governing, if you want to talk about, how he governs, that's a whole different subject. But as far as, running, he's really good at it, and he's already hitting Biden. They asked Trump something along the lines of how he was dealing with the virus, because supposedly Biden had put out a tweet, and Trump's like, Biden didn't put that out. But Biden didn't do that. That was Democratic operatives. Biden doesn't even know what Twitter is. Biden has no idea. There's no way. Ask Biden what he put out. He didn't put anything out. Biden didn't write that. He's already hitting them. So it's ridiculous. I think the Dems really.
But you know what? That's what we wanted. That's what we wanted when we voted for Donald Trump. We wanted somebody who was going to go up there and just wreck the establishment, because we're so sick and tired of just everybody up there, everybody in Washington, be it Democrat, Republican, ain't none of them had our best interests in mind forever, as long as I can remember.
And they still don't.
That's what we wanted in Donald Trump. We wanted him to go up there and drain the damn swamp. We wanted him to go up there and expose the deep state, because we knew it existed. We knew that, the Hillary Clinton body count was real. It's not just something that's made up, and all this stuff is coming out. And now all the ties with Epstein, and there was no way that we could allow her to win, man. That was a big motivating factor for the Trump campaign. And it's going to be the same way this time, because they still got this whole thing with Hillary Clinton going on.
Yeah, I remember I spoke about it on one of my videos maybe 2 days ago, how there were like conspiracy theories that Biden's going to get in and then make Hillary his VP, or make Kamala his VP, and then drop out, or only do one term and have the VP take over kind of situation. Because Hillary's still in the background, moving strings like a puppet. She is really egotistical. She wants to be president. She has not given up on being president, I tell you that much. During this whole election cycle, she came out with a book, and she just wouldn't stop talking about being president. So I mean, it's a conspiracy theory. I don't know how true it is, but it didn't surprise me any. It wouldn't surprise me any if that happened.
Man, no, let me tell you something. That woman is pure evil, and you want to talk? You think I get fired up talking about Elizabeth Warren? Man, Elizabeth Warren, I'd vote for her all day. This woman, she's been involved in so many scandals, and you know what? She is part of the deep state, and she is part of this whole thing that's been going on for all of these years. And this, I mean, it's nuts if you actually do the research and the pedophile ring and the Epstein connections. And no way in hell, if she comes out of the shadows, I guarantee you that every person in this country that's got a lick of sense is going to go vote for Donald Trump. She couldn't snip him the last time, and she's not going to snip him this time.
No. Speaking of Elizabeth Warren, this kind of ties back into Joe Biden. Do you remember when Elizabeth Warren accused Bernie Sanders of saying a woman couldn't be president, right? And they immediately believed her. As a matter of fact, during the debate, they asked Bernie Sanders, did you say a woman couldn't be president? He goes, no, I never said that. And then they turned to Warren and say, Warren, how'd you feel when Bernie Sanders told you that a woman couldn't be president? He's like, what the fuck? I told you I never said that. So they immediately believed her. Now Tara Reid has allegations against Biden, credible allegations. She spoke to multiple people about it. I covered it with Time's Up and everything. Crickets. They're not talking about it at all. If this isn't one of the biggest cover-ups that nobody's talking about, it's absolutely absurd. I don't know if it's true. That's an allegation, but it needs to be looked into. It needs to be taken serious, and they are covering it up big time. So we can believe Elizabeth Warren off the bat. We don't believe Tara Reid. No. What did Melissa Milano say? Oh, if it was true, all the big news media organizations would have covered it. What? Oh man, it's insanity. The DNC is super corrupt. Super corrupt. I released a video today,
and we know they're corrupt.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I released a video today. It's pretty funny. When we finish the stream, go to your Twitter and check it out. I think you're gonna enjoy it.
You know, when we see this corruption with the DNC, and we see, you know, all this stuff that's been going on for all these years, and you know, here's something that I want to get into, and I don't know how much you know about the whole QAnon movement. But there's this whole idea out there that, you know, that Trump and the Patriots are trying to retake control of the country away from the deep state. And there's these drops by this informant who apparently has Q-level clearance in the Trump administration. And they make these drops. And here's the thing. I don't know if people have such short memories or not, but Donald Trump was a Democrat for years and years and years.
Yeah,
and only right before the election did he switch to the Republican Party. And not only that, but Donald Trump has Epstein connections too. There's stuff still in the court systems about Donald Trump and the Epstein connections. So you're telling me that this man who was part of that whole group of people now all of a sudden is this knight in shining armor that's willing to take back the country and give it back to the Patriots? No, you are being psyoped.
Yeah.
The whole point of Project Mockingbird was to confuse the American people to a point where they didn't know what was true and what was not true. Mm-hmm. And they said, we know that we will have ultimate success when the American people don't know what to believe.
Yeah, that's.
I don't know if anybody's looking around right now, but that's exactly what's happening.
Yeah, that is 100% true. They want us to know as little bit as possible and to blindly just believe whatever the government tells us and to kind of be sheep. They absolutely hate when we stand up or even showcase any bit of knowledge about what's going on. They absolutely hate it, and they try to squash it immediately. So no, I 100% agree with you. And Trump was a Democrat for a long time and recently became a Republican and did well. and he's got a 90% approval rating in the Republican Party. So he knew what he was doing, for sure.
I must say this right now, full transparency. I am in no way, shape, or form feeling suicidal. I am not depressed. There is nothing on my phone that shouldn't be on my phone or on my computer. So I was putting that out there so that everybody knows. In case my ass comes up missing.
Man, I mean, like, and if people don't believe like that the government, is capable of these things, look at MK Ultra. You can go back and look at a lot of the shady things the government has done. The Cuban Missile Crisis, like there was a lot of Reagan lying about stuff. We've done some shady stuff. We are no heroes. We are not virtuous. We are just as shady as a lot of other countries. We just cover it up the best. We cover it up the best. I mean, look who we're cool. We're cool with Saudi Arabia. We're cool with Saudi Arabia.
Right?
Like,
it's crazy.
And they behead people in the courtyard for witchcraft. I mean, it's kind of ridiculous.
Again, that just speaks to the different cultures that we have around the world.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I was listening to Joe Rogan, and he had on the author who he was writing a book on Charles Manson. And it was incredible that during this period of time that the government wouldn't go after Charles Manson. He was a CIA operative, and they just kept letting him go until they have finally killed all those people. I mean, that's crazy to think that, and you got to consider the AIDS epidemic with the 80s and the crack epidemic. And oh my gosh, man, your government does not care about you.
They don't care. They don't care. They don't. If they can't even do a simple thing like a temporary UBI until this blows over. That's so easy. That's so simple to do. So simple. They can't even. I mean, Scott Stanton's just had to send out a letter. I covered it. Telling them we need $2,000, a month until this blows over. They couldn't even do $1,000. Canada did $2,000 a month. We couldn't do $1,000 a month until this was over with. I mean, they really don't care. They care about the companies and the big businesses, but we are a drop in the bucket to them. We really are. We really are.
It's crazy, man. We got to look out for ourselves because they damn sure ain't gonna look out for us.
So, since you're not voting for Trump and you're not voting for Biden, who are you voting for?
I mean, it's either right in Yang or sit this one out. I had to, unless something drastic happens, and I did 2 videos on it, and it was mixed in my comment section. Some people are like, "You have to," and I'm like, "I don't have to, though. It's kind of my right to not have to." Like, if you think you have to go and vote for somebody, then you've been brainwashed. You don't have to. It is my right not to, and I wanted Biden to give me something, anything to make me want to vote for him. I've always said that a politician needs to earn your vote. It's not just given. You have to earn it. And it's not about, the guy I didn't want to get in didn't get in, so I'm just sitting this one out. No. I go down the ladder. Okay, Yang didn't get in. Well, does this next candidate have anything that I like? Okay, no. This one didn't get in. Does the next candidate have anything that I like? No. There's literally nothing that Biden has that I like. We literally don't agree. So I just be voting just to appease everybody else. And I mean, I guess you can make a case for the court system, the Supreme Court and stuff like that. But my thing is this: they know that. They know when they were propping up these candidates and pushing certain candidates that things like the Supreme Court matter to people. And you were taking a chance. You were playing Russian roulette with a lot of people not voting for your candidate, but they thought it was a guarantee. Like, oh, they're going to vote for Biden. They're going to do it. They're going to suck it up and do it. Just shut up and do it. And I can't fall into that.
Man, I'm going to tell you right now, you are a lion, dog-faced pony soldier, because there are still candidates out there who can earn your vote. Have you forgot about the likes of Adam Kokesh? And have you forgot about the likes of Berman Supreme?
No, I completely understand. I get that. I get that, and you can vote for these people and write them in. But looking at it, sitting back and looking at it, I 100% believe Trump is going to win. I think it's a done deal.
Bro, it's a foregone conclusion.
Because
one thing about it, I promise you, MAGA's not going to stay home.
Nope.
MAGA is going to go out and vote.
They're already out. They're already out in the streets, and they're not even voting yet. So
in droves,
they will carry the coronavirus with them all the way to the poll.
And then Bernie Sanders supporters are they're really pissed right now. Bernie Sanders supporters are incredibly pissed because they lost, in 2016, and then they lost this time around. But then, just as quickly as they lost, Bernie bent the knee like I've never seen before, to the point where he's shaming, some of his biggest supporters for not immediately suggesting that they go and vote for Biden. And even some of the biggest Bernie channels are incredibly pissed at him, and they're like, "Yo, I'm done. I'm done. You're weak." He had a lot of people fooled. He had me fooled, because you can't start a revolution and then play patty cake with the DNC. You were calling for a revolution. You were trying to destroy it and rebuild. But the whole time you've been playing patty cake with them, and you're bending the knee at every turn. And there's so many Bernie supporters that I know that are like, I'm done. I'm completely done. But
that lets you know right there that Bernie Sanders was part, and this is what I've been saying all along. Bernie Sanders was part of the establishment. He's been up there for so long, been doing the same thing, got 12 houses, rich as fuck too, and he can say what he wants to about the damn broke folk vote, but he don't remember what it's like. He doesn't remember what it's like. And he's out of touch with what's going on nowadays. And that's something that's really stood out to me about Andrew Yang. When he suspended, and they tried to get him to tell his followers to support some kind of certain candidate, he was like, no. He was like, I'm not going to tell them who to vote for, because a lot of the people who came to support me came from a lot of different camps, and so they're going to go support who they want to support. And then you see Bernie Sanders come out and say, no, I'm shaming his own followers, talking about how they should, support Biden. I mean, it just made me, it's crazy.
These people put away a year of their, Breonna Joy Gray, for instance, put away a year of her life and campaigned like hell for you because she believed in what he believed in. And then you just expect her on a dime to go and be like, okay, I'll vote for Biden. Now, when people were getting mad at Elizabeth Warren for not immediately endorsing Bernie Sanders, Bernie told them, hey, leave her alone. Give her some time to think about it. Don't rush her. Give her some time. So you can't give your supporters time to think about it? You have to immediately endorse Biden? It doesn't make any sense. And then to say Breonna Joyce Gray opinion doesn't matter because she's not on my payroll anymore. Come on, Sam. Very, very disappointing. I was very disappointed. And, I think he knows he's done. I mean, he's not going to do another run. I think this is it. And look what they gave him. They gave him nothing. They gave him what, like a task force. I'm going to give you a task force to look into certain things. What a task force. Bernie Sanders had 30% of the progressive vote. What he should have said when he was going to drop out, he goes, Biden, here's 10 things I want you to do, 10 executive orders. I know you're not going to do them all. Choose 5 of them. Choose 5 of them. And you do those 5, and I will campaign as hard as I can for you. None of that. Nothing. All this revolution talk, you got 0. All these years, 0. Think about it. How many years he's been campaigning and trying to do changes and Medicare for all and this and that. 0. You're trying to start a revolution. You couldn't even hunker down and be like, look, man, if you want this, you got to do this. Nothing. Just bent the knee immediately. Done. I'm done with Sanders.
Man, I think a lot of that got to do with when, in 2016, he had this fire and he had this movement and it was cresting. And then Hillary Clinton came in and they screwed Bernie Sanders.
Like never before.
This time you saw that there wasn't as much support for Bernie Sanders and his ideas because people realized how out of date they were. And Andrew Yang pulled a lot of Bernie support. If I remember correctly, you were a Bernie supporter before, and until I came along and got you to thinking right. But it's crazy, the I guess the lack of support that Bernie had this time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he still did overwhelmingly well with young voters. The issue is not a lot of young voters came out. So Biden demolished with older voters, and older voters came out in droves. I feel like older voters, and studies show, they feel it's like their responsibility to come out and vote. While the younger generation is like, no, you have to earn my vote. You have to be talking about some of the problems I'm facing right now. And so Sanders still did well with younger voters, but not a lot of them came out. And a lot of his support was split into different branches. They went to Tulsi, they went to Yang. Some of them even went to Pete. So he didn't have as much of a coalition as he had before. And if he wasn't so stubborn, and if he would have sat down with somebody like an Andrew Yang, or if he would have defended Tulsi and embraced somebody like a Tulsi and defended her when it was needed, he would have did a lot better. But he did not bend. I remember he sat down with Crystal Ball, and Yang was like, yeah, we're going to legalize all drugs, most drugs, and, do the Portugal model. And they asked Bernie Sanders about it. He was like, nope, absolutely not. Nope. Like, he's any little thing he would not bend on, similar to Biden. He just wouldn't bend. And you ended up where you ended up.
It's so interesting that you said that, when you were talking about voters and how like young voters or older voters feel like it's my responsibility to vote, it's my duty to vote. And that a lot of that has to do with age and wisdom. And the younger generation is like, well, no, you got to earn my vote. And it's what's so incredible is that both of those things are true, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're both true, but they're both predicated on the first one, the young voters, it's predicated on a desire for you as a politician to speak to the things that are affecting me. And when you do, therefore, it does then become my responsibility to vote.
Yep. Yep, absolutely. Like Biden wants to go back to a time where, millions of people still had no health insurance. And a lot of people don't even know that Obamacare, or the Affordable Care Act, originally wasn't even a Democratic option. It came from the Heritage Foundation, which was propped up by Newt Gingrich, Chuck Grassley, Mitt Romney, and he just took that and put a twist on it. It didn't appeal to a lot of people. You got penalized if you didn't have health insurance. They would penalize you every year. He wants to go back to a time where it didn't do these young people any good. They were in a shitty situation, and he wants to go back to that shitty situation. They're not interested. We're not interested. So a lot of people are going to sit it out. If you can't do even one thing for us, we're just going to sit it out. What's the point? What's the point?
For sure. And, we see the ineptness in our leadership, especially now while this pandemic is going on, because, you and I were talking about how you better get ready for wave 2 of this coronavirus, because Trump is starting to, and he's allowing the governors to do this. And either governors are going to open it up because they want to curry favor with Trump, or because for a number of different reasons. Their economy's shit, But, talk about the second wave of the Spanish flu.
Oh, yeah. If y'all have researched the Spanish flu at all, the second wave was, 10, 20 times worse than the first wave? The first wave killed a lot of people, but a few months later, when that second wave hit, it killed so many people. They say, they don't know for sure, but they estimate up to 50 million people. And that's a lot of people. And that all came in the second wave.
That's crazy. And then, they want to sit up there and they want to bail out everybody that they can possibly bail out. And then they want to send some people a $1,200 check.
Some people.
That's crazy to me.
And even the small business loan only went to the big businesses.
Yeah, and you saw that with, now Steak and Shake is catching a lot of flack because they took some of that bailout money, millions and millions of dollars. Mm-hmm. And now they're catching flack and they're like, oh, well, we're just going to give it back to the government. Well, guess what happens, though? Now that that's been paid out, it's been appropriated. It can't be reappropriated.
No.
So now there's a whole bunch of companies that have done that.
Yeah.
And everybody that actually fucking mattered who had a small business, a really small business, who, struggled to pay rent just like the rest of the broke folk vote.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's causing them to close.
Forever. I know a couple
they're
people.
Out of loan money now.
Yep, I know a couple people that's had to close up shop permanently. That had small businesses because of this situation. And as far as the reflares go, I covered it on my channel. In China, a lot of places had to re-close down again because of reflares. They're not covering it like how they should on media. But if you look at print media, they usually are decent with things like that. And a lot of places in China had to quarantine again because of reflares because they opened up. We are susceptible to that happening. As a matter of fact, I see it happening. It's going to happen again. And I think we passed over 40,000. Was it yesterday or something like that? And I think they said, it might have been the CDC said, if we were to reopen tomorrow everywhere again, it would hit over 2 million people. 2 million people would die. So we need to hunker down for a bit. I know it's tough. Trust me, I'm in the same boat as everyone else. I got furloughed. My insurance they give us insurance for 2 months. After that, we're on our own. So I completely understand. But I don't want to reflare because then we're going to have to be quarantined even longer than we would originally. And a lot of these businesses that got these loans that the government did in this bailout bill, they're not supposed to fire people. And a lot of them are still firing people, which is really fucked up. I saw that too. And nothing's going to happen to them. Nothing's going to happen to them, but they weren't supposed to fire people, and they are still firing people.
And that's just it. That shows you how inept that what they're doing really is, because those companies are still going to fire people, and the government's not going to go after them because there's so much carnage right now that there's no way possible that they could investigate all of these cases. They don't have the manpower. And these companies know that, and these companies are taking advantage of these loans, and they're getting that money, and the American people are still suffering. And it makes me wonder: do they want a flare up? Because it would kill a lot of people, and if it killed a lot of people, then we wouldn't have to worry about those jobs anymore anyway. You know what I'm saying?
You never know their motive.
There is this thing called Agenda 21 that is a thing if you research it.
I wouldn't put anything past them. I wouldn't put anything past them. Again, the government's done some shady shit, so I wouldn't put anything past them. Again, they don't care about us. I dropped a video about Charlie Kirk, and he was mad that they actually did this bill and gave us $1,200, the $2.5 trillion bill, because now we know it's possible to do something like a UBI. Now, it's not a value-added tax in the way Yang wants it, but he was like, Charlie Kirk said, you just showed the people that the government can do something like this and give people money. So I really don't think they're going to do a UBI. I think they might give us one more check and call it a day, because they don't care about us. They really don't.
Yeah, and that's the thing. These people are rushing to get the economy open, but that's just it. Once Trump finally declares that, hey, the economy's back open, that's the end of hell for anybody. That's when the government says,
go get a job. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps.
Yeah, pull yourself up by your bootstraps.
You're like, the economy's open. What's your problem? Get to work.
Yep. That's why I think they're trying to rush it so they don't have to do something like a UBI. I think they're going to hit us with one more check and then be like, all right, get back to work. get back to work. Because if they do stay closed, they're going to have to keep doing it. Yep.
Yeah, it's gonna be a mess, man. And like, I don't know, I'm seeing if they don't do something fast as far as, I mean, we got to start helping people, because I'm seeing people who are standing in line literally for hours just to either get one bag of food or a $30 gift certificate to a store.
Yeah.
That's, the strain right now on society, on the broke folk, is so huge right now, and the burden is so heavy that there are literally a lot of people who they're just giving up. They're just giving up.
Yeah, I think you're going to see a lot of people lose their places. You're going to see a lot of people move back in with our roommate up, or move back in with family. People things are going to get tighter than ever before. And this is worse than the subprime mortgage crisis. So don't be surprised if the broke folk vote hunker down, and the economy is still going to be, after this is over, it's not like things are just going to, get back to normal. There's not going to be a sense of normalcy for months. They shit on us, but at the same time, they need the broke folk. It's an interesting dynamic. They need us in every sense of the way. But the economy is going to take a huge hit for a long time, for a very long time.
Oh man, you talking about that? We were talking about how things were going to change. Talk about what you were talking about.
The other day I was talking about our new normal, like what that might look like if this virus sticks around. Because in my head, and from what I've heard and what I've read, that it'll be a seasonal thing. So it's going to come back in the fall, and then it might, taper off like the flu does, and then come back in the next fall, and then just keep every year. And I'm not a
virologist.
Yes, that. But I feel like, wouldn't it kill the same amount of people every year? Because the flu kills roughly the same amount of people every year, but the flu is not as bad, obviously, and it's also not quite as contagious. So if this is coming around every year, is our new normal going to be never going to sporting events, never going to concerts, never shaking hands, always staying 6 feet away from people?
I don't know, because we were talking about what's it going to do for Halloween?
Yeah.
Halloween's done.
I want to go trick or treating.
Yeah. Did you think about that for a second?
Yeah.
That's something that I can take into account. Who's going to want candy that somebody's been handing out when you got the coronavirus? It's done.
I mean, this is 2.5 times more contagious and 30 times stronger than the flu. So it's 2.5 may not seem like a huge number, but in comparison to the flu, which is like 1 point something, it's incredibly contagious. And I mean, they're going to come up with a vaccine or something for it, but even then the strain is going to change, just like the flu does, even though it's really not the flu, but it's similar in the way it acts. And if we get that every year, then we will see numbers. We will see numbers like that, and we're going to have to adjust some way. But I don't think there's going to be any trick or treating. I don't think they're going to say no trick or treating. Halloween, I've seen them, at least in Connecticut, like cancel whole Halloweens, nobody going out. I've seen that happen before. I think they're going to do it this time around.
We'll just dress up.
Fuck fascism, man. This is murder, and you're not taking away my freedom. Look, it's gonna be crazy, man. Because golly, so many things are gonna be different. I mean, Halloween is our favorite holiday, and now thanks coronavirus. But you got to think, man. If kills 50,000 people a year, right? Isn't that what we're something like that? But in 1 month, we've lost 40,000 people in America,
and we've been social distancing. So.
That's social distancing.
People didn't take it serious at first. It was infuriating. So when this first hit, all over social media, especially on Facebook, everybody was saying, "Oh, I can't. This is stupid. I want to go back to work. This is ridiculous. Oh, it's nothing but a flu. Get over it." Oh, Nobody worry about it. It's only people affecting people 65 years old and older. The flu kills 60,000 people a year. What are you guys complaining about? You even got Dr. Phil talking about, oh, we haven't, look how many car crashes we have in America. We shouldn't close the country down because of that. Meanwhile, in 1 month, it's killed 40,000 people. It's already going to surpass the flu average, which is why I was saying earlier that if we were to open to back up tomorrow, it would kill 2 million people. So this is no joke. And Halloween's one of my favorite holidays as well. I like to watch like old school Halloween shit. But I don't think it's going to be open. I think stores and stuff will be open again by October, but I don't think there's going to be a Halloween.
There'll probably be a limit of how many people can go into the store and
how many damn bags of candy you can buy. Come on, man.
There's gonna be a shortage of Halloween candy.
That's crazy. They just made Halloween movies and stuff. You say hold on. You say you like them old school Halloween movies, and I want to talk about that. I want to talk about these old school Halloween movies for a minute.
Well, I like horror. I like horror movies in general. I like horror movies in general. But like during Halloween, I will watch the old, literally the Halloween movies for Michael Myers. I'll watch Poltergeist and stuff like that. I don't know. I love Halloween. I love the feeling. I'll even watch old school cartoons like Real Monsters and stuff like that. I don't know. It's a good feeling. Candy and watching movies and people dressed up. It's just. I'll even watch like Halloween Town stuff like from Disney. I don't know. I just really like Halloween. It's dope. It's a dope holiday.
Okay, so but what's your favorite Halloween movie?
I don't know if you want to call it a Halloween
favorite Halloween movie, not your favorite horror movie. That's two different things.
Okay, so the
movie, yeah.
Then that's got to be. Don't laugh. Hocus Pocus.
Man, come on, man.
Focus.
Come on, bro.
It's nostalgic, man. Bette Midler.
It's gotta be the Nightmare Before Christmas.
That's number 2.
Was out before Nightmare Before Christmas.
Well,
that's a great movie, but
Nightmare Before Christmas could be a Christmas movie as well. I've heard that argument. So I don't know, man. It could be either or. I've heard
so it's got dual citizenship. Hocus Pocus guy. Hocus Pocus don't even have dual citizenship. It's got it's 3 crazy women who are with each other.
Oh man. It's nostalgic, but so is Nightmare Before Christmas. I like them both for sure.
All right, so what's your favorite horror movie?
Horror movie? Oh boy, probably the one that scared. Horror movies usually don't scare me. That's why I watch them so frequently, because I want to be scared, and they usually fail. But the ones that got me were from when I was younger. It's The Exorcist, the original, that scared the shit out of me. I had no business watching that movie, the original Exorcist. And then
yes, that was
Exorcist. Yes. And I mentioned it, Poltergeist. Poltergeist that got me too when I was younger. You got the static TV, and they got the little girl standing in front of the TV, and then all the bad stuff happened to the entire cast. They all died. Yeah, that got me.
Bro, when you were talking right then, it took me back to my childhood and seeing that dude. It freaked me the up. Oh my god! When he comes out with that tricycle, he comes around that corner, and those little girls are standing there.
That shit was scary.
Oh my god, dude, that just like
that shit was scary.
That was.
Oh man. That shit was scary. So it's usually the older one. The new ones don't do it. They're all jump scares. I just watched yesterday The Grudge. They re-released the Grudge movie. What the hell? It was a piece of shit. It was a piece of crap. What do they do? We got all this money.
It was lame when it came out.
It was exact. They had the chance to really make something special. They could redo it. We got all this money to spend on these movies, the best effects we've ever had, and then they make pieces of shit like that. I think the last 2 times movies intrigued me was Paranormal Activity, the very first one, because it was like different. You know what I mean? And then the first Conjuring, the very first Conjuring. Besides those two, it was like, they're not doing it.
And see, I think that probably just speaks to our age difference because, to me, like the last really good horror movies were the era of, Freddy Krueger.
Oh man,
and Nightmare on Elm Street.
Oh yeah,
dude, that one. No, I think it was the second one, man, where like she falls asleep, dude, and I think it was a chick.
It was a dude.
It was a dude.
The puppet.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Where he's got like and stuff, and he's like doing this whole puppet master thing. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Iconic scenes when they're getting sucked through the bed and the blood spurts up and goes onto the wall. Yeah, Freddy Krueger used to scare the shit out of me too. My cousin
Robert Englund was sick, man. He played a great Freddy Krueger.
Yeah,
and it's crazy because like my son is like so into like Five Nights at Freddy and all the stuff that goes along with these nightmares. And he shares a birthday with Robert Englund, so it's crazy.
What? Five Nights at Freddy's was a decent game. I played though. There's like so many of them now. What about Hellraiser?
Yeah, but bro, I'm not even talking. We're not talking about the game. You're not understanding.
Not just the game.
When I'm talking
game was fun.
When I say he's in the Five Nights at Freddy, there are like some videos on YouTube that are like freaky as fuck. Five Nights at Freddy videos. And he's scoring, he loves them, and I'm like, bro, seriously? I mean, we try to control, but he's just like, he'll sit there and he'll just start acting like one of the characters and twitching and shit.
What's gonna happen is now what's gonna happen is when he gets older, like when horror movies come out, he's gonna be desensitized and be like, this isn't scary, this isn't shit. Give me some scary shit. It's gonna be hard to scare him when he gets older. Like, that ain't nothing.
So I'm hoping maybe he'll take his fascination and he'll turn it into a career like maybe Robert Englund had, and play a really cool character in a horror movie or create stuff like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because horror movies has always been some of my favorite movies.
Yeah,
but I don't watch none of them now.
No.
And it's produced some of like the biggest actors we've had. There were like actors back in the day that like got some of their first starts in horror movies, and now they're big now. Yeah, horror movies, they're never gonna go away, ever. They're dope.
But I think that harkens back to something that we talk about a lot on this channel. Is stuff's always better back in the original days. Stuff's always so much better.
Yeah, no, I agree. And then everything comes full circle. But when it comes back around, it's not the same. They've redone Halloween. They've redone Freddy Krueger. They've redone Jason. They've redone all these movies, and they're all subpar. But you go back to the originals, even with the effects that they had at those times, I'm like, yo, this was dope. I forgot to mention The Thing. Tell me you guys have seen The Thing.
The original?
The original The Thing, yes.
Yeah, long time ago.
Long time ago.
There was like this really cool play. Like when I was younger, I lived in Ohio, and there was like this really cool thing that they would do every Friday night, and it was called Big Chuck and Little John. And they would always show, like, it was these two dudes, and they would like host the show, and then they would always show these horror movies or whatever. And so it was really cool growing up because I got to watch them every Friday night.
Absolutely. That's dope. And you'll never forget those. Those memories will always stay with you. You'll never forget those. You'll never forget that stuff.
For sure. But you think about it, man, like just there will never be another Wu-Tang Clan. Right. There will never be another like the OG.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of feel like that's where we're at in the Yang Gang right now. We are the OGs, brother.
I think we are. There, when Yang first came about, there was, a couple people that was really pushing for Yang, and I consider them the OGs, and we welcome everyone new coming in to push for Yang. But there's definitely an OG subset in the Yang gang for sure. And it's changed. If you go into a Yang forum right now, it's not the same. If you go on a Yang group on Facebook or something, it's not the same. It is vastly different. Vastly different.
Absolutely. Well, Ronnie, we've definitely gone over the time, but we had, I mean, it always seems to happen like that. We appreciate you being on the show. And if you can tell the Yang gang one thing before we get out of here, what would it be?
Oh, man. To watch these guys all the time. They have amazing content. Watch them, support them. They've been in the thick of it. I'm sure most of you know, but if any of you are new, they were in the trenches. I call it the trenches. And I appreciate you guys. And I always will appreciate you guys. Like I said, I tagged you on Twitter in a video I just dropped. It's a funny video. Check it out when you get off of this. I think you're going to like it. And if you want to see my content, just type in Read My Lips on YouTube and it should pop up.
Well, brother, we appreciate it. Thank you so much for being on the show. We definitely got to do this again because I feel like we obviously will all just click because we're on the same level, man. We're all experiencing the same bullshit day after day after day. So we appreciate you, brother. Thank you for being on the show.
Thank you. Take care, guys.
Oh, there you have it.
Right in the middle of the take care.
American Dystopia gang. It'll always be Yang Gang.
It'll still be Yang Gang.
For sure. We heard from two amazing guests today. Really got to dig into Mr. Humanity's efforts in the first half. Thank you so much for being on the show, Anthony. We will definitely have all the links in the description for sure. And if y'all have not checked out RealBCereus's channel, it is Read My Lips podcast. And you can
link there too.
We'll put a link there too. All of our Patreons and donators, thank you so much. You keep us going. And you want to say bye to the Yang gang? Say bye, Yang gang. Tell them bye.
How are you going to have your own YouTube channel?
We love you, Yang gang.
Bye.
There you go.
See you on the next one.
Bye.
We're coming, man. We're coming. I end the broadcast.